The wind whipped across the elementary school playground, carrying autumn leaves in swirling eddies, as 10-year-old Olivia Bennett clutched her mother's hand. The knot in her stomach tightened as they approached the school's main entrance, where a colorful banner announced, "Welcome to Stanley Elementary's annual science fair." "Do you think he'll come?" Olivia asked, her voice small against the backdrop of excited children and proud parents streaming into the building. Rebecca Bennett squeezed her daughter's hand. "Honey, remember what we talked about. Your father is very busy and—" "He promised this time," Olivia interrupted, a hint of defiance breaking through her usual quiet demeanor. "He said my volcano project sounded genuinely impressive." "Those were his exact words, Mum." Rebecca's expression softened, but the tension around her eyes remained. "I know, sweetie. Let's just go in and focus on your amazing project, okay?" Olivia nodded, but her eyes continued to scan the parking lot for her father's sleek black Tesla, the car he'd shown her proudly during her last visit to his downtown penthouse 3 months ago. The same visit where he'd promised that things would be different now that his company had gone public, that he would make more time, that he would be there for her science fair. Inside the gymnasium, rows of folding tables displayed the creative efforts of 4th and 5th graders, solar system models, plant growth experiments, and at least 3 other papier-mâché volcanoes besides Olivia's. But none of the others incorporated a sophisticated pH-triggered color change reaction that made the lava shift from bright orange to deep crimson as it flowed, a modification that had required weeks of research and countless trial runs at the kitchen table of their modest 2-bedroom apartment. "Let's set up here," Rebecca said, helping Olivia arrange her display on their assigned table. "The judges will start their rounds in 30 minutes. As they worked, Olivia continued to glance toward the gymnasium doors, hope flaring each time. They opened. "Mrs. Bennett, Olivia!" Mr. Garcia, Olivia's science teacher, approached with a warm smile. "I've been looking forward to seeing the final version of this volcano. Olivia has been working so hard on the chemical reaction sequence." Rebecca beamed with pride. She spent every evening for 2 weeks getting the formula just right. "Mom," Olivia whispered, tugging at Rebecca's sleeve. "Dad's assistant just texted." She held up her mother's phone, which displayed a message from Natalie, Pierce's assistant. "Mr. Bennett sends his regrets, but will be unable to attend today's science fair due to an unexpected board meeting. He wishes Olivia the best of luck and will call this evening." Mr. Garcia, noticing the change in Olivia's expression, tactfully moved to the next display, giving them privacy. "I'm so sorry, sweetie," Rebecca said, wrapping an arm around her daughter's narrow shoulders. Olivia stared at the phone, her face a careful mask that broke Rebecca's heart, the practiced composure of a child who had learned to hide disappointment. "It's fine. I knew he probably wouldn't come anyway." "He loves you very much," Rebecca offered automatically. The words sounded hollow even to her own ears. "No, he doesn't," Olivia replied, her voice flat. "Not like other dads love their kids." Before Rebecca could respond, Principal Walsh was at the microphone welcoming everyone to the science fair. Olivia squared her shoulders and turned her attention to her project, methodically arranging her display boards and checking the chemical solutions one last time. The judges were impressed with Olivia's volcano. Dr. Ramirez, a chemist from the local community college, spent 10 minutes asking detailed questions about her reaction formula. Olivia answered each question with growing confidence, her initial disappointment temporarily forgotten in the thrill of discussing her project. When the time came for the awards ceremony, Olivia stood with the other contestants at the front of the gymnasium. Though she had hoped for first place, the red second-place ribbon the principal pinned to her sweater still brought a genuine smile to her face. "Congratulations, Olivia," Rebecca exclaimed as they walked to the car afterward, the ribbon proudly displayed on her daughter's chest. "Second place out of 32 projects. I'm so proud of you." Olivia's smile dimmed slightly. "Do you think Dad will be proud too?" Rebecca hesitated only a moment. "Of course he will. We'll take lots of pictures to show him." They stopped at Olivia's favorite ice cream shop on the way home, a small celebration that Rebecca hoped would lift her daughter's spirits. It was a budget stretch, but seeing Olivia's delight over the double-scoop Rocky Road sundae was worth the expense. Later that evening, as Olivia sat at the kitchen table finishing her homework, Rebecca's phone rang. Pierce Bennett's name flashed on the screen. "It's Dad!" Olivia exclaimed, reaching for the phone. Rebecca handed it over, watching her daughter's face light up with renewed hope. "Hi, Dad, guess what? I got second place at the science fair. The judge was a real chemist, and he said my pH-sensitive color change reaction was college-level work." Rebecca couldn't hear Pierce's response, but she could see its effect on Olivia's face. The initial enthusiasm gradually replaced by a polite smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Yeah, I understand. No, it's okay. The ribbon is red." Olivia's responses grew shorter as the conversation progressed. After less than 3 minutes, she handed the phone back to Rebecca. "He wants to talk to you." Rebecca took the phone into the living room, leaving Olivia at the table with her math homework. "Pierce," she said, keeping her voice neutral for Olivia's sake. "Rebecca, listen," Pierce began, his voice carrying the brisk efficiency that had helped build his software company into a million-dollar business. "I know I missed the science fair, but I have something better in mind. I've been thinking about Olivia's education." Rebecca listened as he outlined his proposal, a prestigious private school across town, known for its accelerated STEM curriculum and connections to the tech industry. "Sheffield Academy has an opening for the spring semester," he explained. "They rarely accept mid-year transfers, but the headmaster is a golf buddy of mine. Olivia's science fair project shows she has potential that isn't being nurtured at Stanley Elementary." "Pierce, we've discussed this," Rebecca replied quietly, mindful of Olivia potentially overhearing. "Sheffield is across town. The commute would be impossible with my work schedule, and they don't have after-school programs that would cover the hours I work." "That's easily solved," Pierce said dismissively. "I'll arrange a car service, or you could finally accept my offer to help." With a better apartment closer to the school, the familiar tension headache began to pulse at Rebecca's temples. "We're managing just fine where we are. Olivia is thriving at Stanley. Her teacher, Mr. Garcia, gives her extra projects to keep her challenged." "A public school teacher can only do so much," Pierce countered. "Sheffield has a 3D printing lab, Rebecca. A fully equipped chemistry lab, robotics, coding classes, everything Olivia needs to develop her potential." The unspoken criticism hung in the air. Everything Rebecca couldn't provide on her elementary school teacher's salary. "I appreciate the thought, Pierce, but I've already paid the application fee and deposit," he interrupted. "Olivia has an interview next Tuesday at 4. I'll have Natalie email you the details." Rebecca felt a surge of anger at his presumption. "You should have discussed this with me first, and you should have been at the science fair today. That would have meant more to Olivia than any private school acceptance. I'm trying to secure her future, Rebecca." Pierce's voice took on the edge it always did when he felt challenged. "Someday, she'll understand that was more important than watching her pour baking soda into vinegar." After they hung up, Rebecca sat on the couch trying to compose herself before returning to the kitchen. Pierce had always been ambitious, driven, qualities she'd once admired in him. But after Olivia was born, the single-minded focus that made him successful in business had proven disastrous in family life. Their divorce when Olivia was 5 had been amicable on paper. Pierce provided child support that exceeded the court's requirements. He agreed to joint custody without argument, then consistently cancelled his weekends with Olivia due to business emergencies. In the kitchen, Olivia was still bent over her math homework, pencil moving rapidly across the page. Rebecca watched her for a moment, this serious, brilliant child who tried so hard to win her father's approval and worked so diligently to hide her disappointment when he failed her. "Your dad has an idea he wants to discuss with us," Rebecca said carefully, sitting beside her. "He thinks you might benefit from a different school, one with more advanced science programs." Olivia looked up, her expression cautiously hopeful. "Like Sheffield Academy. Madison's cousin goes there. They have an electron microscope." Rebecca shouldn't have been surprised that Olivia knew about Sheffield. Of course, Pierce would have mentioned it during one of their phone calls, planting the seed without consulting her first. "Yes, Sheffield, but it's very expensive and it's across town and—" "Dad said he would pay for it," Olivia said, confirming Rebecca's suspicion. He told me last month that if I did well in science, he would talk to you about it. Rebecca felt her frustration with Pierce deepen. He had placed her in an impossible position, either agree to his plan or become the obstacle standing between her daughter and opportunity. "There's a lot to consider," Rebecca said gently. "If you went to Sheffield, you'd have to leave all your friends at Stanley, and the academic pressure is much higher." "I can handle it," Olivia replied, with the quiet determination that reminded Rebecca so much of Pierce. "And maybe if I went to Sheffield, Dad would come to school events there, since it's the kind of school he likes." The innocent comment revealed the real hope driving Olivia's interest. Not the electron microscope or the 3D printing lab, but the possibility of finally capturing her father's attention. As Rebecca helped Olivia get ready for bed that night, she watched her daughter carefully place the second-place ribbon on her nightstand, positioning it so it would be the first thing she saw in the morning. "I'm really proud of you, Olivia," Rebecca said, sitting on the edge of the bed. "Not just for winning second place, but for working so hard on your project, even when things didn't go perfectly the first time." Olivia looked up at her mother, her expression serious. "Do you think if I go to Sheffield, Dad will be proud of me too?" The question broke Rebecca's heart. "Your dad is already proud of you, sweetie. He just shows it differently than other parents." That night, after Olivia had fallen asleep, Rebecca sat at the kitchen table with her laptop, researching Sheffield Academy. The tuition was astronomical, more than her annual salary. The website showcased state-of-the-art facilities, small class sizes, and impressive college placement statistics. She thought about Olivia's face when she'd read the text from Pierce's assistant. The practiced composure masking disappointment. The way she'd immediately shifted her focus to her project, making the best of the situation. Rebecca made a decision. She would take Olivia to the Sheffield interview. She would try to keep an open mind about Pierce's proposal. For Olivia's sake, she would put aside her reservations and consider whether this opportunity might truly benefit her daughter, despite the complicated strings attached. What she didn't realize was that Pierce's plans extended far beyond a private school education, and that his true agenda would soon force all of them to confront painful truths that had remained buried for years. The Sheffield Academy interview was scheduled for a Tuesday afternoon, the same week as the science fair. Pierce had arranged everything, from the transportation to the meeting with the admissions director. "Ms. Rodriguez will meet with you. And Olivia," his email to Rebecca had stated. "She's particularly interested in Olivia's science fair project." Rebecca dressed Olivia carefully that morning, a navy blazer Rebecca had saved for months to buy, pressed khaki pants, her hair neatly braided. Olivia looked like a miniature professional, her science fair ribbon pinned inside her jacket. For good luck. The car service Pierce arranged was a sleek black SUV with leather seats, nothing like their usual public transit. Olivia pressed, her face against the window, taking in every detail of neighborhoods they rarely visited. "This is where rich people live," she observed, pointing at mansions set back from tree-lined streets. "Not everyone with money lives like this," Rebecca reminded her. "What matters is what's inside a person, not their house." Sheffield Academy looked more like a college campus than an elementary school. Modern buildings with glass facades, manicured grounds, students walking between classes with laptops and sophisticated backpacks. Ms. Rodriguez greeted them in a glass-walled conference room. She was African-American, probably in her early 40s, with sharp, intelligent eyes that seemed to look through Olivia rather than at her. "Olivia Bennett," she said, extending her hand in a professional handshake that made Olivia stand a little straighter. "Tell me about your science fair project." For the next 45 minutes, Olivia detailed her volcano's pH-triggered color change, her research methodology, and the computational modeling she'd done to predict the chemical reactions. Rebecca watched, simultaneously proud and slightly out of her depth. Ms. Rodriguez asked increasingly complex questions, pushing the boundaries of what a 10-year-old might typically understand. Olivia didn't just answer. She engaged, asking her own follow-up questions about chemical engineering principles. "Impressive," Ms. Rodriguez said finally. "Very impressive." As they prepared to leave, Ms. Rodriguez pulled Rebecca aside. "Mr. Bennett has been very enthusiastic about Olivia's potential. He's discussed a special scholarship opportunity. Rebecca felt a flutter of unease. Scholarship? A full ride, Ms. Rodriguez explained, covering not just tuition, but additional enrichment programs, advanced summer workshops, specialized tutoring, the kind of support most parents can only dream of providing. The offer seemed too good to be true, and Rebecca had learned long ago that with Pierce, anything that seemed perfect usually came with a complicated catch. That evening, Pierce called to discuss the interview. Ms. Rodriguez was impressed, he said, without preamble. She believes Olivia could be a perfect candidate for our STEM acceleration program. Our? Rebecca asked. Pierce's tech company had recently launched an educational initiative focused on identifying and nurturing young scientific talent. Rebecca knew he saw potential recruiting opportunities even in elementary school candidates. The scholarship includes a research mentorship, Pierce continued. Olivia would work with junior researchers in our innovation labs during summer programs. Something about his tone made Rebecca uncomfortable. Mentorship with Pierce often meant strategic positioning, not genuine connection. What exactly does that mean, she pressed. Just an opportunity to expose her to real-world scientific environments, Pierce replied smoothly. Nothing more. But Rebecca knew Pierce well enough to hear the calculation behind his words. Olivia, overhearing part of the conversation, looked hopeful. Dad says I might get to see real research labs this summer, she told her mother later. With electron microscopes and everything. Rebecca forced a smile. We'll see, sweetie. The next week brought an unexpected development. A formal scholarship offer arrived, printed on heavy cream paper, bearing Sheffield Academy's letterhead and Pierce's tech company's logo. Full tuition, advanced placement, summer research programs. Everything seemed perfect, too perfect. Rebecca's instincts, honed by years of navigating Pierce's complicated world, told her something was missing, something important. What Pierce wasn't saying was often more significant than what he was saying. Little did she know how right her instincts would prove to be. Would you like me to continue with the next part of the story? The scholarship offer sat on Rebecca's kitchen counter like a ticking time bomb. Each time she looked at it, her unease grew. Pierce's enthusiasm about Olivia's potential seemed different this time. Not just pride, but something more calculated. During their next phone conversation, Rebecca decided to probe deeper. Tell me more about this research mentorship, she requested, watching Olivia do homework at the kitchen table. It's an extraordinary opportunity, Pierce explained. Our company is developing advanced pediatric medical technology. Young minds like Olivia's could provide unique perspectives. The explanation sounded rehearsed. How young are these young minds you're talking about? Rebecca pressed. Pierce hesitated, a rare occurrence for a man who always seemed 3 steps ahead of everyone else. Top candidates start around 12, he finally admitted. But Olivia is exceptional. Something in his tone made Rebecca's maternal instincts flare. 12 is still 2 years away from Olivia. Why the rush? Scientific potential doesn't wait, Rebecca, Pierce responded, his corporate voice sliding into place. Talent needs nurturing. That weekend, Olivia received an unexpected package, a sophisticated tablet computer wrapped elegantly with a note, for research and learning. Love, Dad. The gift was precisely calibrated to excite a science-loving 10-year-old. Preloaded software, advanced research databases, cutting-edge technology most adults would envy. Can you believe this? Olivia showed her mother, eyes sparkling. Dad says I can access university-level scientific journals. Rebecca's unease deepened. Something wasn't adding up. Her ex-husband didn't do anything without a strategic purpose. This scholarship, the tablet, the sudden intense interest in Olivia's scientific development. What was Pierce really planning? A breakthrough came unexpectedly. Rebecca's colleague, Martin Rodriguez, whose wife worked in corporate compliance, mentioned something intriguing over coffee. Heard rumors about Bennett Technologies, he said casually. Something about an internal investigation. Something with their pediatric medical research division. Rebecca's journalistic instincts, developed during her years as a part-time freelance writer, kicked into high gear. She began investigating discreetly. Old news articles, professional networking sites, corporate financial reports. What she discovered made her blood run cold. Bennett Technologies had been quietly developing a revolutionary medical technology focused on genetic mapping and early intervention for pediatric neurological conditions. The research required extensive genetic data from young participants. The word felt clinical, inhuman, and suddenly Pierce's intense interest in Olivia's scientific potential made a horrifying kind of sense. Her brilliant, curious daughter wasn't just a scholarship candidate. She was, potentially, her research subject. The scholarship wasn't an opportunity, it was a transaction. Rebecca's hands shook as she pulled out her phone to call Pierce. But before she could dial, another message arrived, an email from Ms. Rodriguez at Sheffield Academy. The subject line made her stomach drop. Confidential, genetic research consent. Protocol. Would you like me to continue to the next part? Rebecca's fingers trembled as she opened the email, each line confirming her worst suspicions. The scholarship wasn't just about education. It was a carefully constructed pathway to collect genetic data from promising young students. Pierce's tech company had developed a sophisticated program targeting children with exceptional scientific potential. Olivia was their perfect candidate. Advanced intelligence, strong scientific aptitude, no prior medical complications. The genetic research consent form was disguised as a standard enrollment document. Buried in pages of legal language was a clause allowing comprehensive genetic screening and potential long-term research participation. Mom? Olivia's voice interrupted her investigation. Can you help me with my math homework? Rebecca forced, a smile quickly closing the email. Of course, sweetheart. That night, after Olivia was asleep, Rebecca called her sister Julia, a corporate lawyer known for her aggressive litigation skills. This is medical research exploitation, Julia confirmed after reviewing the documents Rebecca had photographed. Pierce is using the scholarship as a Trojan horse to gain access to Olivia's genetic information. Why? Rebecca asked. What could he possibly gain? Julia's response was chilling. Bennett Technologies is developing predictive medical technologies, genetic markers that could identify potential neurological or developmental conditions decades before they manifest. If they can build a comprehensive database of high-potential children's genetic information, it could be worth billions. The pieces fell into place. Pierce wasn't just interested in Olivia's scientific potential, he saw her as a potential research asset, her daughter, a data point. The next morning, Rebecca confronted Pierce directly. I know what you're doing, she said during their scheduled phone call. The scholarship is a cover for genetic research. Pierce didn't even attempt to deny it. It's groundbreaking work, Rebecca. Imagine being able to predict and prevent neurological conditions before they develop. Olivia could be part of something revolutionary. She's my daughter, not a research subject, Rebecca shot back. She could help thousands of children, Pierce argued. Her genetic profile is extraordinary. The early computational modeling in her science project suggests neurological processing capabilities we rarely see. Rebecca felt sick. Pierce spoke about Olivia like a product, not a child. Absolutely not, she declared. I won't let you use her like this. Pierce's tone changed, became cold, calculated. You don't have a choice. The consent forms are part of the scholarship agreement, and legally, as her father, I have the right to make these decisions. The threat hung in the air. Olivia walked into the kitchen, catching the tail end of the conversation. Is everything okay, Mum? Rebecca's maternal instincts roared to life. Pierce might have legal leverage, but she would fight with everything she had to protect her daughter. Everything's fine, sweetie, she lied, her mind already racing with potential strategies. But Pierce had made a critical mistake. In his pursuit of scientific data, he had forgotten one fundamental truth. A mother's love is the most powerful force in the universe, and Rebecca was about to prove just how far she would go to protect her child. Would you like me to continue to the final part? The next 48 hours became a strategic battle Rebecca had never anticipated fighting. She contacted every legal resource she could, her sister Julia, a pro bono legal clinic specializing in medical ethics, even an investigative journalist contact from her freelance writing days. Pierce is using a loophole in parental consent. Laws, Julia explained during an emergency video call. The scholarship agreement essentially gives him medical decision-making power for Olivia's participation. Rebecca's response was immediate. There has to be a way to stop this. Her plan formed quickly and precisely. If Pierce wanted to play a strategic game, she would match his tactics move for move. First, she requested Olivia's complete medical records from their family pediatrician, Dr. Martinez. The doctor, recognizing something serious was happening, provided every document without hesitation. Then she began gathering evidence: the email from Sheffield Academy, the scholarship documents, Pierce's communication about research mentorship, each piece meticulously organized. "Mum, why are you taking pictures of all these papers?" Olivia asked, watching her mother work late into the night. "Just organizing some important documents, sweetie," Rebecca replied, maintaining a calm exterior. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Martin Rodriguez, the colleague who had initially mentioned rumors about Bennett Technologies, connected Rebecca with Sarah Chen, a former employee who had left the company under mysterious circumstances. Their phone conversation was revelatory. The Pediatric Research Division was conducting unauthorized genetic screening, Sarah revealed. "I discovered they were collecting data from children without proper comprehensive consent. When I raised concerns, I was immediately terminated." Sarah had documentation, emails, internal memos, enough to suggest systemic ethical violations. Rebecca's next move was calculated. She filed a temporary restraining order, preventing Olivia from participating in any medical research programs associated with the scholarship. Pierce's response was swift and aggressive. "You're destroying her future," he told Rebecca during a heated phone call Olivia accidentally overheard. This could be her chance to do something truly significant. Olivia's face went pale. For the first time, she saw her father not as a distant hero, but as something more complicated. The legal battle escalated quickly. Pierce's lawyers argued that Rebecca was preventing Olivia from a life-changing educational opportunity. Rebecca's team countered that the research protocols were unethical and potentially exploitative. Judge Helena Rodriguez, known for her stringent stance on medical ethics, scheduled an emergency hearing. The courtroom became a battleground of scientific potential versus parental protection. "My daughter is not a research subject," Rebecca testified, her voice steady. "She's a child with her own future, not a data point for corporate research." Pierce's team presented Olivia's science fair project, her advanced computational skills, her extraordinary potential. They painted Rebecca as a mother preventing her child's potential breakthrough. But something unexpected happened during the hearing. Olivia, sitting quietly beside her mother, raised her hand. "May I speak?" she asked the judge. The courtroom fell silent. "I want to understand what's happening," Olivia said. "Dad says this research could help other children, but Mom says it's not safe for me. I want to know the truth." Her simple, direct statement cut through the legal maneuvering like a knife. Judge Rodriguez looked at Olivia with genuine respect. "And what do you think, young lady?" "I love science," Olivia explained, "but I also trust my mum, and something about how my dad is talking about this research feels wrong." The judge's decision came swiftly. The scholarship was suspended pending a comprehensive investigation into Bennett Technologies' research protocols. Pierce would be required to submit all research documentation for external ethical review. Outside the courthouse, Olivia hugged her mother tightly. "I'm proud of you," Rebecca whispered, "not just for being brave, but for trusting your instincts." Pierce's reaction was predictable: legal challenges, attempts to discredit Rebecca. But the momentum was against him. Investigative journalists began exploring the story. Sarah Chen's whistleblower testimony gained traction. Bennett Technologies found itself under intense scrutiny. 6 months later, the company faced significant federal investigations. Pierce's reputation, carefully constructed over decades, began to crumble. Olivia continued her education at Stanley Elementary, her science teacher, Mr. Garcia, providing additional challenges and support. The scholarship to Sheffield was replaced by something more valuable: genuine mentorship and protection. "Some opportunities are more important than fancy schools," Rebecca told her daughter. "Your integrity, your safety, your childhood." On the night of Olivia's next science fair, Pierce was conspicuously absent. But this time, it didn't matter. Mr. Garcia stood in as her proud supporter. Rebecca captured every moment, and Olivia, focused and brilliant, presented her latest project: a robust water filtration system designed to help communities with limited access to clean water. Not because a corporate scholarship demanded it, but because she genuinely wanted to make a difference.
Please leave a like to show your support. It means a lot to me and helps bring our story to more people who might need to hear it today.